The new adaptation of Emily Bronte's novel Wuthering Heights, starring Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, has already sparked lively debate among European critics. The film is being described as the boldest and most explicit interpretation of the classic work, while also noting its controversial approach to the literary source. The novel, published in 1847, is traditionally regarded as a complex and dark story about destructive love, social barriers, and inner conflict. In Emerald Fennell's version, the emphasis is shifted toward visual expressiveness, physicality, and sensual tension. For some, this has become a fresh take on a familiar story, while for others it has raised doubts about the depth of the adaptation. The film's rating at the time of the first reviews stands at 71%, based on 68 reviews. The classic 1939 version starring Merle Oberon and Laurence Olivier is still considered the benchmark, holding 96% from critics and 85% from audiences. The 1992 adaptation with Juliette Binoche and Ralph Fiennes received significantly more restrained reviews, as did the 2012 version with Kaya Scodelario. Critics noted the visual expressiveness and sensual presentation of the material, emphasizing that Emerald Fennell's work appears to be an obvious contender for major film awards in the upcoming awards season. In their view, the film is capable of attracting the academic community primarily through its style and recognizable directorial approach. Some reviewers agreed with the high evaluation of the visual component and the original musical accompaniment, but pointed out that as an adaptation of the literary source, the film appears simplified and may cause disagreements among fans of the novel. Other critics described the film as an emotionally rich but fragmented narrative that more closely resembles a teenage fantasy of forbidden passion than a mature dramatic story. There is also the opinion that the film gives the impression of a subjective and superficial retelling of a complex classical work. At the same time, a number of reviewers called this version of the story the most passionate and explicit of all previous adaptations. Convincing performances and a striking sensual atmosphere are noted, while it is emphasized that form often dominates over content in the film. Some critics consider the new work to be the best in Emerald Fennell's career, recalling her previous films Promising Young Woman released in 2020 and Saltburn released in 2023. In their assessment, the film is perceived as an emotional ode to destructive and toxic relationship. The plot of Wuthering Heights tells the story of how Mr. Earnshaw, the head of a wealthy family, brings an orphan named Heathcliff into his home and raises him as his own son. Over time, a deep bond develops between Heathcliff and Earnshaw's daughter Catherine, growing into love. However, social differences and the pressure of those around them lead to a tragic choice and a chain of dramatic events. The film's worldwide release begins on February 13th.